In news from the USVI criminal courts, we learned that a man now faces domestic violence charges after allegedly kicking his ex-girlfriend in the face, and another has been arrested and charged for driving under the influence. St. Croix resident Ralph Cook Jr. was arrested on Tuesday after police responded to a domestic violence incident at the beginning of the week. On Monday, a woman made a report of domestic violence at Strawberry Hill in Christiansted. Responding officers met with the woman, who had visible red marks on her left eye, a laceration on her nose bridge, a swollen top lip, and bruising and scratches on both sides of her neck. The woman also complained of pain in her stomach and lower back and was transported to the 1F Louis Hospital for medical attention. She told police that Ralph Cook Jr. had inflicted those injuries. She and Cook had shared an intimate relationship, and on the day in question, he reportedly showed up at her residence, told her that he was not feeling well, and asked her if she could come to his place, a request to which she agreed. While at Cook's residence, the woman told police that Cook admonished her that she was causing harm to herself and that she was, quote, going to sea. She said Cook brought up a discussion they had days ago, asking why she had questioned him about a female friend that he had known for 20 years. Reluctant to respond at first, the complainant said that after Cook repeated his question, she told him that the woman in question had lifted her skirt while entering a vehicle, showing Cook her private parts. As such, she told her then lover that if he and his female friend were being intimate, she needed to know. Cook is reported to have laughed off the woman's concerns, telling her that what he did with anyone was his business. The woman said Cook then turned the discussion to her activities, began commenting on how she speaks, and eventually referred to her children as goats. When she described his children in like manner, the woman says Cook responded by kicking her in the face. She lost consciousness then, and when she came to, the woman reportedly found Cook straddling her, his knees on her inner thighs holding her down, and he was strangling her with both hands, she said, restricting her ability to breathe. She began to struggle, but her attempts to push him off only caused him to tighten his grip on her neck. At some point, Cook reportedly tried to jam his finger in her eye, but she says she was able to grab hold of his thumb, bend it towards her mouth, and bite him, forcing him to release her neck. She told police that she did not know how she received the other injuries. The woman continued, saying that her attempts to call 911 were rebuffed by Cook, who then locked the apartment's front door, preventing her exit. She asked to take a shower, and while she was in the bathroom, her daughter called, and she was able to answer the phone. Somehow, she was then able to unlock the front door and escape Cook's apartment. She was walking towards the entrance of the community when the woman said she saw Cook trailing her in his vehicle. She says he ordered her inside, and when she refused, he got out of the vehicle and grabbed her, pulling her cell phone out of her hands. She said she was able to wrench herself away and walked to the Barron Spot Village Mall, where she received assistance and called the authorities. Police canvassed the area but were unable to locate Cook or his four-door gray Honda Pilot. The next day, when they located him at his home, he declined to provide a statement, saying only that the woman had bitten him. Police took note of a small red mark on the man's right thumb and placed him under arrest. Cook was charged with assault in the second degree as an act of domestic violence, simple assault and battery as an act of domestic violence, and petite larceny. In court on Wednesday, November 9th, the judge ruled that Cook be allowed to post $250 in cash, with the remainder of his $5,000 bail requirement to be posted as an unsecured bond. He is banned from leaving St. Croix without the court's written permission and must surrender his passport if he has one. Cook must report to the probation office on Tuesdays and is to have no contact, directly or indirectly, with the complainant or any witnesses in the matter. He must also maintain a minimum distance of at least 1,000 feet away from the alleged victim. On Wednesday, a St. Croix man appeared before a VI Superior Court judge to answer to DUI charges following an auto collision at the beginning of the week. Steve Roy Thomas was arrested on November 7th following an investigation into an auto collision on Queen Mary Highway. According to documents before the court, VIPD officers were on their way to the Anselmo Marshal Command on Monday when they came upon an auto collision in the westbound lane of Queen Mary Highway in the vicinity of the Gasaway service station. The driver of a red Jeep Cherokee told police that he was traveling westbound on Queen Mary when he began to slow down because he was going to make a right turn into the service station. After indicating his intention to turn right, the driver said he suddenly felt an impact to the rear of his vehicle, which pushed his Jeep into the eastbound lane. The driver of the yellow Chevrolet Cavalier that impacted the red Cherokee, later identified as Steve Roy Thomas, initially responded to police requests for his driver's license, registration, and insurance documents with expletives. He then walked towards the officers, reportedly saying, "Let me watch you good. What is your name? My name is Forceful Mac." As they spoke with Thomas, police recognized possible symptoms of intoxication: the stench of alcohol emanating from his person, Thomas's red glassy eyes, and slurred speech at high volume. Thomas began to search for the documents after the police's second request, staggering around the area where the collision took place and once again identifying himself as Forceful Mac. The officer took Thomas across the street into the parking lot of the service station, noticing that Thomas was having difficulty keeping his balance. Thomas leaned against the police cruiser as he drew close and informed the officer that he did not wish to curse him. He told police that he was traveling westbound on Queen Mary when the driver of the Jeep Cherokee exited the service station and collided with his Chevy. He admitted to consuming alcohol, but said all he had was a shot of gin and 2 light beers. Police administered the usual standardized field sobriety tests, 2 of which Thomas failed. He was then arrested and charged with driving under the influence of an intoxicating liquor and negligent driving. In court on Wednesday, a judge ruled that Thomas be allowed to post his driver's license in lieu of bail. He is barred from leaving St. Croix without the court's written permission and must surrender his passport if he has one. Thomas must report to the Office of Probation every Tuesday and is to have no contact, directly or indirectly, with the victim or any witnesses in the matter. His driving privileges have been suspended for 90 days.